You can start recording.
You can start the recording.
Yes.
Hi everyone, a very warm welcome to one and all. It's so nice to have the SJC family together, even though it is virtual and we would like to hug each other, but it's not going to be possible. So we'll only give flying kisses to one another. As all of you know, I've already introduced myself. I'm Genevieve Martins. Okay, I taught St. Joseph's from the year 1986 to 2005 for 19 years. Prior to that, I was a student at St. Joseph's. So I have the SJC stamp all over me. And I'm proud of it. Today, my dear friends, the 1st of May 2021, our Ex-Students Association has created a new milestone. The first ever face-to-face workshop planned and executed by our ever vibrant and enthusiastic committee, but I must add, spearheaded. The brainchild was none other than Leanne Manchanda. Thank you,
Leanne. Thanks, Leanne.
Thank you. My dear friends, this face-to-face may come across as a misnomer. How can we say face-to-face when I cannot touch you? But I'm sure you will understand that this encounter that we are having today is definitely a face-to-face. And now let me get on to the real purpose. Let me introduce to you our speaker for today, Mrs. Jennifer Tavares of the batch of 1987. If any of you or any of the teachers are present here today, who are ex-students of our school, would always think of Jennifer as a very soft-spoken, gentle girl. But don't get, taken in by this exterior, because inside she has what she's going to talk to us about, and therefore resilience. This is what Jennifer has within her, and that is why she founded the Pledge Academy in 2012, which mainly counsels and trains, and especially for special education for the children, for school children. She is now based in Bangalore with her family. Jennifer is here today to speak to us about how we can build resilience through healthy thinking patterns. Yeah, we all know, how we think. And when we think in a particular way, it automatically impacts our behavior, maybe for the good or otherwise. But today, my dear friends, we are privileged to be here because Jennifer is going to show us how we can manage our thoughts more productively to build resilience. I'm getting tongue twister of a word that is. And especially now, my dear friends, we require resilience in these very trying times. I don't have to repeat it to you. To assure ourselves that tough times do not last, but it is tough people who do. And therefore, before I can hand you over to Jennifer, I have a small request for each one of you. The teacher in me still believes in homework, okay? So now you have a homework to complete for me. Each of you who is present here today will bring another contact, maybe your friend of your batch or an earlier batch or a later batch, whatever it may be. But the next face-to-face workshop that we have, I want to see the numbers swelling to 70 plus. And with that, I hand you over to Jennifer Tavares.
Thanks, Genevieve.
Thank you, Miss Jenny Martins. As I told you earlier when we just spoke, that to have a teacher introduce me is a different experience today. And I went back to my class 9, where you taught us latitude and longitude and how the time difference of America and India, how it was yesterday in America and today in India. So all those memories are still fresh. However, when you introduced me as soft-spoken and something else, I saw my two classmates have a good laugh. Okay, so I'm sure all of you know me for what I am. I am also happy to tell all of you that I'm excited to do this, even though it's the first one. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. I have a PowerPoint. There are going to be some activities in between, so be prepared for that as well. Feel free to unmute and ask questions. This is not a strictly formal workshop, so please do that at any time. If I'm speaking something and you can't hear, I would request you all to just either put it in the chat box, or even Leanne can just tell me if she can't hear me. Okay, so I'm going to share my PowerPoint and we're going to start. And I hope all of you can see the screen. All right. If you're using your phone, don't worry. I'm going to be saying everything that's on this PowerPoint, so don't worry. I've chosen a topic. Resilience is a very big topic. I worked as a nurse for many, many years, and my thoughts on resilience started back then. That very often when a patient has just passed away, the first thing that we go to do with the patient's relatives is please go and clear the hospital bill. That is what we tell them. And then you have to go and do what is required.
You can see the PowerPoint presentation.
It's good enough.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Shall I continue?
Yeah, please.
Okay. All right. So my thoughts on resilience started way back when I was training at Parsi General Hospital at Bombay, wondering how do people cope when they have lost a loved one. And over the years, I've been reading up more and more. And so resilience is a very wide topic, but I have just narrowed it down to a particular area, which is called as building resilience through healthy thinking patterns. Before I go into the next slide, I want to first say that I'm not disputing anyone's resilience who is here. However, sometimes a reminder helps us to bounce back. And also, if you may have children, you may have grandchildren, you may have in-laws, you may use this information to help anyone who is in need of this. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next slide. What do you understand by resilience? What is your understanding of this word resilience? Anyone can answer.
Want to answer?
Anybody?
Okay. I can give you the example of the coconut tree, okay? In a stormy, gusty wind, the tree bends, but it doesn't break, it comes back to its normal position. So that is what resilience is all about, getting back, bouncing back.
All right. Okay, so that's a very good example and a very good way to start. The coconut tree, I think last year there was a video of a coconut tree in the storm going this way and that way. I think it was in Bombay that somebody had videoed a coconut tree moving around. Yes, so it is the capacity to recover quickly from some difficulty, and we broadly call it as mental toughness. However, I'm going to add one more part over here. Whenever we go through mental toughness, if we learn something, then we would also be able to bounce ahead. We would be able to move way ahead from where we are because of the experience that we have learned. And we would be able to take in our experiences to a new situation, either in our own lives or to help another person. Okay, why bother about resilience in this ever-changing world of ours? Why bother about it? Anybody? Feel free to answer. There are no wrong or right answers. Go ahead. Why are we talking about mental toughness? At any point of time. See, I've done these workshops in schools before the pandemic, and we've been going around teaching children how to manage and how to foster their own resilience. And perhaps some of it is of coming of good use today. But in a broad sense, why should we worry about resilience? Why is it important?
For mental balance.
For mental balance. Very good. Yes.
Coping. Help us to cope with difficult situations.
all right, to help us to cope in some situations. Okay. So when you all are saying for mental balance, yes, sometimes some of us who have poor resilience may suffer from mental health disorders, and that's a separate topic. The other answer was to help us to cope. So if we cope better, our resilience is also better and we are able to manage larger situations. However, I've put down some reasons over here. A lot of us feel that life is unfair. Okay, I'm hearing a lot of youngsters saying, why is this happening to us? Why are we having to attend these classes? Why are our exams happening in the midst of a pandemic? The second one over here is nobody loves me. A lot of senior citizens or people who had to spend the lockdown alone perhaps began to think that nobody loves me. And that would lead to loneliness. If we permanently start having that thought, then we start feeling lonely. And that could be quite detrimental to mental health. Some of the children are thinking, I have no friends. They haven't seen their friends for over a year. And I can't imagine if I was in school and if I had to be locked up like this and had to attend class online, I think I would have found it very, very hard. My friends saw me through school. And so a lot of not just school going children, but a lot of us are having to go through this of not being able to meet friends, especially friends who have supported us. Many of us may say, it hasn't been so bad. But for most people, this has been their toughest part of not being able to interact with human beings physically. Work from home fatigue. A lot of us are having to work from home and we are tired of doing the housework. We are probably tired of managing, the work that we have to do in our office as well as the work that we have to do at home. And to some extent, a lot of people who were going into office feel that when they are working from home, they are working much more than before. And it is becoming quite tiring for them. And therefore, it's important to think about resilience. The last 2 points here are daily dilemmas. We are put through daily dilemmas every day. There was a man admitted in the ICU, and his son also required the ICU bed. And his wife went to the doctor and said, please disconnect the ventilator from my husband and please put my son on that ventilator. How hard it must have been for this person to take this decision. I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, another patient in the ICU died and she got that bed for her son. But these are the dilemmas that are happening in the current scene that we all are. And it could be very hard on the person. The person will go through a lot of guilt because they have taken such a decision. Uncertainty in the time that we are in, we all know. We just don't know. One day the government says, no, we are not going to have a lockdown. Next minute we are having a lockdown. And so for all of us, this kind of uncertainty may bother our resilience, and therefore these are just few points. Of course, all the other points that were mentioned are also important for resilience. The resilience model over here that you see on your right-hand side is stressors and protective factors. How do we balance? I think Erica said mental balance. How do we balance this out? Our protective factors are our family, the resources we have, the strengths we have, the abilities we have. At the same time, we also have stressors. Okay, each of us, if I ask you, may have different stressors, but all of us might be in a situation where we are having some stress. If we push the fulcrum to the right or to the left, we'll be increasing our resilience. If I push this blue triangle over here, which is the fulcrum, if I push it to the left, would I be increasing my resilience? Or if I push it to the right?
Right.
Okay, so you're saying that we need to have more protective factors and have the protective factors more than the stressors. Okay, so that is what we understand from that. Okay, resilience helps people to deal with stress and adversity. Somebody spoke about coping. So definitely stress and coping go together. It helps us to overcome childhood advantage. We sometimes hear an auto rickshaw man's driver has scored the highest in the IAS exam and so on. They have overcome childhood disadvantages. They did not bother about not having a bed to sleep, not having food to eat. They overcome all that and they focused on the goal at hand, and they were resilient enough to reach that particular goal. Reach out to new opportunities. Okay, if we are able to capture this particular, if we are able to capture this moment of the pandemic and try to help others, try to ask for help from others, it would also mean reaching out to new opportunities. All of you are with me? Yes.
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 Jennifer, when you say reaching out to new opportunities,
Yes.
could it also mean that you're now using a different way, a different approach of things? Because, now they say you cannot do it this way. Okay, you have to do it that way. Now, nothing is actual, everything is virtual. So we at our age have to learn online. We have to learn how to manage things. Do you understand that reaching out to new opportunities? Can you specify what you mean by that?
Okay, so if I'm a resilient person, and let's say when this lockdown happened last year, all right, and let's say some of us were running businesses. I know of people who were running businesses, like say a restaurant business, and they were asked to shut shop. So these people quickly changed their business and started selling masks and sanitizers. They did not wallow in that part of how much loss I am going to make. Instead, they quickly found what was the need of the market and they reached out to that new opportunity. Okay, so adapting to in order to survive, it's like the Charles Darwin's theory of the survival of the fittest. If we are able to adapt ourselves, we will survive. So if I would summarize it like that, shall I move ahead?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And next one here is how do we build resilience? And that's what we are here to learn today. The process of building resilience is through negotiating with our available resources. One thing that we failed to do in this time is some of us think, oh, how can I disturb so-and-so? Why should I ask them for help? But if that person is somebody who matters to you, that person becomes your available resource. So we should not shy away from that. Negotiating with our available resources could also be the previous example. The person had a running shop, went into loss. He knew that he had the bandwidth to set up a medical supply store. So he just adapted and changed over to what was the need of the hour. So negotiating with our available resources is our time, our talents, our energy, and of course, our strengths. Okay, so keep that in mind. The next one here is developing our social and personal competencies. All of us need to know how to interact in a social setting. How do we build a social network? And so that as we move from age to age, we are able to have a personal network around us, which I call a safety net. If I have a safety net of people around me, I would not be in trouble. And our personal competencies, as Ms. Jenny said, that we all had to suddenly learn this online model. Okay, and so we have adapted and we are able to do this. I myself had not even heard the word Zoom till March 2020. I am now doing my counseling sessions using Zoom, but it took me time, but we had to slowly adapt in order to meet the need of the hour. Facing adversity. Facing adversity doesn't necessarily mean that I have got to get COVID and face it. I have to go through a difficulty and face it. Facing adversity is managing our day-to-day problems. A lot of times we hear parents are not allowing their children to solve their problems. They are jumping in and solving every little thing, giving them every little thing that they need. Then these children are going to struggle when they become adults like us. Remember, we had nothing before the social media came in and we survived. I remember the day the bomb blast happened in Bombay, I was not able to call up my mother and inform her that I can't return home. But we didn't panic. We all were actually calm. But today we are trying to, we are reading up so much that we think we are facing adversity in the internet world. but perhaps we need to face it in a more realistic way. Okay, so these are some of the ways to build resilience. I'm not going into detail. The main topic for today is building resilience through healthy thinking patterns. Okay, so this is something that we can all do individually, and that is why I'm focusing on this. And so we are going to elaborate on this particular topic. I'm going to request all of you to get a piece of paper, an old piece of paper. I'm sorry, I should have told you to keep that ready, but I'm going to request all of you to quickly do that. And any paper, any old paper, any paper like this is enough. Yeah. And once you have your paper in your hand, I'm going to ask you all to put on your videos, because this is a good activity to help us all understand about the topic of today. Okay, everyone's got, I can't see everyone. Some of them have their video off. It will be good if you have your video on just for this little bit, so that all of us can learn something new. It's a very simple activity, don't worry. Hi, Audie. It's good to see you. Yeah. Okay, so everyone's ready with a piece of paper?
Yep.
All right. I'm just going to do it. I know maybe some of you don't want to switch on your videos, but even then you could do the activity. Okay, so all of you have that piece of paper. Now that piece of paper should not be visible to the other participants. We should only see your faces and not the paper. Okay. So the first step is fold the paper in half. You can't ask me any questions, okay? Once I've started, you can't ask me any questions. You just have to follow my instructions. Sorry about that. Okay, fold the paper in half was the first instruction. Tear off the bottom right corner. Fold the paper in half again. Those of you who are showing the paper, don't show it to the audience. Keep it down on your table or lap and do it. The third instruction was to fold the paper in half and now tear off the upper right corner. Fold the paper in half again. And now tear off the lower left-hand corner. Everyone's done? Yes? Well, if you're done, please open up your paper and show it on the screen. And maybe Leanne, you can take a screenshot if possible, or I can do it. Yeah. Okay, everyone's going to show their wonderful artwork. I can't see Erica's. I can't see Miss Jenny's. Tulika, put it up. Tulika, you didn't do anything. You kept the paper as it is. Okay, you have. Okay. Yeah, I can see it now. All right. Nicolita, all right. Carol has a big hole in the middle. And okay, all right. Okay, hold your papers up and maybe Leanne can take a screenshot. Yeah, everyone hold your papers up so that we know that we've done this. Erica, can you put yours up? No? Yeah, right. Okay. What have you all noticed?
Everybody has different patterns.
Everyone has a different pattern, right? I think I gave the same instructions to everybody, correct?
Yeah.
I also told you don't ask any questions. I agree on that. And sometimes that's how it is. We are put in situations where we can't ask any questions. All right. And if I may ask you all that when you were doing this activity, what were some of the thoughts which were going on in your head?
Stupid.
Stupid thoughts. You thought I am stupid, or you thought Jennifer is stupid? Which way?
I didn't want to go through all the layers. I was only picking one layer at a time.
Okay, you didn't want to go through all the layers. That's your behavior. That is what you decided to do. All right. But what was the thought that went into your head when you thought of I don't want to, when you decided that I'm not going to do all the layers? Was there any other thought that came into your mind that I don't want to spoil this paper?
I personally didn't want it to fall apart.
Yeah, even
I
I thought, I hope I was doing the right thing.
Okay, some of you thought, I hope I'm doing the right thing.
I said, Jennifer, giving me back my poison. Jennifer's giving me back my poison.
You thought I'm giving you back your poison. All right. Okay, that was another thought. And if you had these thoughts, Tulika, your thought was,
I thought, I was saying, I hope I'm following the right instruction. Like,
when you had that thought, what was your feeling?
A little bit of a nervousness sort of.
Okay, a little bit nervous. All right, maybe because Miss Jenny Martins is here, not because of me. All right, but I don't think I can make you nervous because you're my senior. And okay, so you are a bit nervous now. When I show that paper, what's everyone going to think? Okay, so you are a bit nervous, but you didn't run away, correct? You did not switch off your video. You did not decide. You decided I will still show that paper to everyone. Yeah, Audit, you were saying something about your paper. You're on mute. Audit, you're on mute.
Audit, unmute.
Audit, unmute.
Not on mute.
Yeah, so what happened was I knew that if I keep tearing, I'll probably be left with bits and pieces. So I sort of wanted to hold together at least, even though it was all over the place.
Okay. All right. So you decided I'll do my own thing, right?
No, I followed instructions, but because it was folded in so many layers, I thought one layer, why the whole thing?
Okay. All right. Okay. So same situation. Okay, Audie. So you said I did follow the instructions, but I also decided that I will do it. I'm not very sure if I've understood it right, that I will do it little differently. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So all of you were put into the same situation. Yes.
Marita,
yes.
I've done this exercise earlier, but
Okay.
it's a communication exercise, for communication.
Yeah.
So when you started off, I thought it was something different. So I was quite excited. And then as you moved along, I realized, okay, it is the same. But I felt excited to continue doing it because I said, wow, she's using it for thinking patterns. And that's something I would be interested in learning. So I had this kind of a feeling.
Okay, so you started off with a thought that I have done this before. Yes. You were excited and you continued doing it because you said, okay, she's connecting it to some thought patterns and I'm going to learn something. Yeah. Right. Thank you. You summarized the activity very, very well, that we are all placed in situations. I'll go back to the PowerPoint. Thank you everyone for joining in on that. We are all placed in various situations. Okay. Sometimes we are placed in the same situation. That's what all of you went through right now, the same situation. And then all of you had different thoughts, different feelings, and different behaviors. Okay. And that's the important part of understanding healthy thinking patterns. All of you came up with a different pattern on the paper, which was great. Because we don't want everyone to be thinking the same. We don't want everyone to behave the same. So it was good to see different patterns. Somebody had a hole in the middle and I have to still figure out how that hole happens through my instructions. Okay. Having said that, let's go ahead. Whenever our thoughts, an important point to remember is that we think 24/7. Even though we sometimes tell people, stop thinking, think positively, don't worry, all right? But thinking doesn't stop. We think 24/7, that's the beauty of our brain. And we go on and on thinking, but it's important for us to understand that we can't stop thinking, but we can manage our thoughts. So I'm going to give an example. I'm going to take Leanne and I have studied in the same school. And let's say that both of us are going to write an exam. Okay, so our situation is the same. Writing an exam is the situation. After the exam, our results come out and both of us have failed. and both of us have the same thought, I am a failure. Okay, so results have come out and both of us have the same thought, I am a failure. Both of us feel sad, disappointed, angry, jealous of others and etc. So till now the story remains the same. Leanne decides that she is going to contact her teachers and she's going to plan better for the next exam, and she's going to make a study plan. She's probably going to get extra help, etc., etc. Jennifer, being Jennifer, she decides that she's going to go to sleep and that's it. I'm not studying anymore. Okay, so up to now, the story was the same, but Leanne's behavior and my behavior was different. So for whom was this thought healthy? Or for whom was this thought helpful?
Leanne.
For Leanne. Because of Leanne's behavior, you are saying that. Okay, so our behaviors determine whether our thoughts are healthy or not.
I thought it's more likely to have been the other way around. I'm more likely to have just gone to sleep and forgotten about it.
Yeah, since your mom is here, I thought let me not let you down. Okay, my mother is used to sleeping, so
I know, Jennifer, I know.
Next time, both of you all should have copied from me.
Oh, next time, yeah. That would be a coping method. Whether it's a good coping method or a bad coping method is debatable, but that would be a coping. Okay, so when we talk, very often you will have people telling youngsters, think positively. Instead of saying think positively, the new trend is to say think in a helpful manner. That means the same thought, I am a failure, can work for somebody and drive them to do something good, but the same thought for another person may not help that person to go forward. Okay, so the first thinking habit, or the first part to understanding thinking patterns or thinking traps is to first ask ourselves, is this thought a fact or an opinion? Okay, if I say I am a failure, is it a fact or is it an opinion?
Opinion.
It is an opinion. All right, but if I say Bangalore is the capital of Karnataka,
that's a fact.
All right, so facts are thoughts which we can't change. We are in the second wave is a fact. We are in a pandemic is a fact. I am going to get COVID is an opinion. Okay, so but sometimes we keep believing our opinions so much that we make it into a fact. And that is where the problem starts for us in order to where we take care of ourselves or in terms of our behaviors, our emotions. So if you remember the simple triangle that our thoughts, I am a failure, led to feelings of depression, sadness, anxiety, anger, etc., which leads to behaviors. And my behavior, that means Jennifer went to sleep, will only reinforce my thought of I am a failure. But if I want to change that thought, I have to change my behavior. Any doubts so far?
No.
Am I making sense?
Perfect sense. Thank you.
10 on 10. 10 on 10.
Thank you, miss. Thank you. I wish I was back in 9th standard. Okay, the first thinking trap here was that I have just taken a few of them, which is more important during this time that we are going through. Okay, so the first thinking trap here is prediction. I will not get a promotion. I will never get married. Okay, if it doesn't matter to you, you will not feel it. But if you're worrying about it, yes, all of us have certain predictions of the future. But how many of us are astrologers? None of us, right? There's always a 50-50 chance of something happening. Suddenly you will get married and then you will say, by chance, by luck, you put it down to those kind of things. Sometimes people who come here for counseling come with a prediction saying, oh, this counseling will not help. They start off with this prediction. The other important part of prediction is that we are all on our social media, on our phones. And sometimes we read a WhatsApp message. And that WhatsApp message, we decide through the print of the WhatsApp message, just print. We decide, oh, that person is so rude. Oh, that person doesn't care about me. We start to mind read, which is a form of prediction. We start to mind read and we try to judge the person on the other side of that message. Okay, so predictions are where we are predicting something that will happen in the future. If I tell you it's going to rain today in Bangalore, I mean, anyone in Bangalore will tell you that, yeah, there is a 50% chance that it will rain, 50% chance that it won't rain. We are always prepared for the rains in Bangalore. All right, but just because it rained, that doesn't make me right every time I make a prediction. Okay, so prediction, and the next one is catastrophizing. It is one step ahead of a prediction, where I think of the worst possible outcome. I think a disaster is going to strike right now. I can't find my keys. I'm going to get a heart attack and I'm going to die. Okay, so we just go into the worst possible outcome. I've got a picture over here. You could look at the picture and you might understand what I mean by catastrophizing. The person has not returned home at a particular time. You can see the person catastrophizing what must have happened, but the person is actually at the door. Okay, both prediction and catastrophizing are the underlying causes for anxiety because we are living in the future. Whenever we live in the future, it is a period of anxiety because none of us know whether this is going to happen or not. We hit the panic button and we imagine the worst possible outcome. Am I clear? Yes, any questions on catastrophizing or prediction?
Very, very clear. Thank you.
Okay, just one more point which I've put here. This is something that a lot of students have started asking me. The 10th standard students who are now going into class 11 and 12, and the 12th standard students who are going into the next class. What if I don't make friends because of online class? Okay, and we tell them, oh, don't worry, you will make friends. But it is a concern for them. Anyone who uses what if statements a lot of times is perhaps in the catastrophizing thinking pattern. Okay, I'll tell you how to deal with these things. We have to dispute some of these thoughts, which I will tell you. I'll also put out a handout on the group so that everybody can read that. Going to the next thinking pattern, compare and despair. It's like sometimes we compare apples and oranges and we begin to despair. Is there any time where we have compared ourselves and felt good? Perhaps not. Maybe India has won the cricket match over Pakistan. We all will feel happy, but that's not a comparison. We won it. There is evidence that we won the match. But when we start to compare ourselves with others, we are probably comparing our happiness with others. Or those people are happier than me. If I say my friend has a better job, I'm trying to conclude that they are happier than me. But that may not be true. How many of us spend time comparing our lives with others and we live in their world rather than in ours? Okay, you all may not be doing this, but you may come across your own family members or students or anyone saying, that person is better than me, or I have less than that person. And is comparing a helpful thought? It is mostly leads to disappointment and jealousy. Okay, critical self. Critical self is where we become our internal bully. If somebody walks in right now and tells me I am stupid, I might get up and fight with that person. Okay, I might say, how dare you bully me? How dare you call me names? Maybe some people are submissive and passive. They may not even be able to do that. But sometimes we are being an internal bully, that is 24/7. We are criticizing or distorting a picture of ourselves. We are not seeing our real picture. We start giving statements like this: I am not good enough. Everything that has happened in my family is my fault only. Is it possible? Are the other people invalid that they could not take some responsibility for whatever is happening? I always make a mess of things. So imagine going through this 24/7 will lead to depression. Many youngsters are going through this today because they don't have a job. The employment scene in India is very poor. And so they are criticizing themselves, but we have to remind them to negotiate through their resources and see what they can do best at this point of time. Okay, so critical self is where we are blaming ourselves for everything that's going wrong in my life or everything that's going wrong in somebody else's life. If it's a fact, it's different, but if it's an opinion, then it's something that we need to work on. Okay, the last unhelpful thinking pattern, which is here, is called black and white thinking. Black and white thinking use keywords like I never feel happy. I am always alone. I am always at fault. I'm always feeling sad. I don't have any friends. We challenge these thoughts. We say, so nobody spoke to you at school today? No one spoke to you at college? Nobody said hi? And then they'll say, no, 3 people said hi to you. Those 3 people must be your friends. Okay, so black and white thinking is a rigid form of thinking where we put things on either end of the spectrum. Good, bad, beautiful, ugly, fat, thin. And we don't see ourselves anywhere on the shades of gray between. None of us can be perfect. If we are striving for being perfectionist, again, anxiety comes in. So make some mistakes. What is the worst thing that will happen? No harm, right? If I forgot to put salt in my food and while I'm eating it, there's nothing wrong. That doesn't make me a bad cook. Okay, so these are some of the thinking traps that I have introduced to you so far. I'm going to go on with the techniques of how to manage this. But any questions so far? Suddenly the group became very quiet.
Listening.
I'm sure you'll have your own examples, either of yourselves or others, which you'll have deeply thinking about. Okay. Shall we move forward to the techniques?
Yeah, please.
Yes, please.
All right. If any of you feel like taking snapshots of the techniques slide by slide, please do that. Okay. The first technique to build healthy thinking patterns is an acronym called THINK. Okay. An acronym which is called THINK. It's a very simple acronym. So T is for, is this thought true? It's like a fact or opinion. Okay, so you're asking yourself that question first. So let's say I have a thought today, I'm a very bad cook. Okay, let's say that. H is this thought helping me? Is it going to help me go through my day? Am I going to be able to cook again? I, is this thought inspiring me? Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Is this thought inspiring me? N, is this thought necessary? Is it necessary for me to have this thought right now? Is there an echo coming?
Little bit, yes.
Okay, maybe you all can mute for a while. Sometimes the bandwidth fluctuates. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, N is this thought necessary for me to have right now? Okay, and K is this thought kind towards me and towards others? Okay, so if I get a yes for all of them, then it's okay to have that thought, continue having that thought. But if you get a no to any one of them, then perhaps you have to think again, is it a fact? Is it an opinion? Is it worth having this thought right now and right here? Okay. Anyone wants to take a snapshot, please feel free. I'll move the slide then. Okay. All these are actually available on the net, but just put it over here. I'll continue. The next one is disputing the thought or questioning the evidence. If I feel I am a bad cook, what is the evidence I have to support that thought? Okay, have I cooked every meal hopelessly? Have I cooked only some meals? Well, I have to sit down and think and make myself understand where I am going with this thought. Okay, because that particular, see, I am not a good cook, it doesn't matter. All of us can order food from out. But if I say I am a bad person, okay, what is the evidence I have that supports that thought? Okay, and usually I write down a couple of things. Maybe the client would tell me that, my children don't listen to me, my husband doesn't listen to me, whatever. Okay, but then I ask them to think over what is the other evidence they have, what we call as counter evidence, to prevent them from thinking this particular thought. Have your children never listened to you? Has your husband never listened to you? It's impossible, right? And if it was true, then you need to seek help in that particular relationship. Okay, so we need to find out some evidence to support the thoughts which are pulling us down or weighing us down or asking questions. How do I know this catastrophe will really happen? Okay, let's move ahead. Another example is pros and cons. Let's say I have a dilemma. What should I do? Then doing the advantages and disadvantages of, I've given one example here. This was someone had this particular dilemma yesterday. Should my son take a year break from college? The child is studying in the UK. She wants to know whether she should send her child back to the UK or not. This boy is 21 years old. So I told her, let him take a piece of paper and write down the pros and cons of taking a gap year and the pros and cons of going back. And then we make an informed decision. This is how we build resilience. If I take a wrong decision, still, I may go back to UK and something may happen. But I took an informed decision. Resilience is bouncing back even when I take the wrong decision. Okay, so any doubts so far? Okay, for the next slide, I would like you all to unmute and tell me what do you see.
Difference of opinions. One is saying 3 and one is saying 4.
One is saying 3 and one is saying 4. Okay, but do you agree?
One perceives the same situation. Perception of a situation.
Okay, perception of the situation, very, very important. How do we perceive a particular situation is the first step to resilience. Okay, if I ask all of you what is the color of this pen, some of you will say blue, some of you will say light blue, magenta blue, etc., all based on past experiences. Okay, so sometimes agreeing to disagree and letting go of a particular topic or a particular thought is sometimes helpful for us. If I stood at this side, I would have seen the 3, but I am not willing to go this side. If this person went this side, might have seen 4. But sometimes we don't want to budge from our stand.
Yeah.
Okay, so both are right from their standpoint, from where they are seeing the situation. Okay, I'll move to the last slide. Okay, all of you can see my screen? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So there's an activity now. You have to look at this train. As when I start the video, the train is going to start moving in a particular direction. 5-10 seconds into the video, I would like you to tell your brain to see the video moving in the opposite direction. So let's say, for example, when the video starts, you see the train moving north. After 10 seconds, tell your brain to start seeing the train moving south. If you see the train moving south, after 10 seconds, ask yourself to see it going north. Okay, so you have to focus. You have to really, really focus. Everyone's ready?
Yes.
Yes? Did you understand what you have to do?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope you all have started looking at the train in the opposite direction.
Yes, we have.
Okay. Everybody did it, or should I play it again?
No, fine.
Yes, we did it.
We did it.
Did it?
Yes,
Okay.
we did it.
All right. How did you all do that?
We conditioned our minds to do it.
Because I told you, is that what you're saying, Louise?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, perhaps. I followed the instructions.
All right. You followed the instructions. Okay. Anybody else?
We have the ability to control our thoughts. Who's
speaking?
Nicolita.
Nicolita, yes. We have the ability to manage our thoughts more than control. I would say manage our thoughts, that we could make that shift in split seconds. Right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah. Anybody else?
You're on.
Confused. I always like to see from every point of view. So whether you had asked me to see north or south, I would have still seen anyway.
All right. You would have still seen it. You're used to doing that. It comes naturally to you. So you would have anyway seen it. But if somebody told you to see it going east, then what would you have done?
No, I wouldn't agree.
You wouldn't agree. All right. Okay. So that's something that you would have explored. How could it go east, etc., etc. And you would have still tried to have understood the person before believing that person. All right. Good. Yeah. Anyone else wants to share anything?
That basically speaks on it, and I don't know whether it really moved, but just because of the focused eye, that it moved.
Okay. All right. You don't know whether it really went both ways. Okay, so you think I tricked you? Do you think I tricked you? I don't know. It's an illusion, actually. I don't know whether I'm tricking you. But it's just a video to that we use for training to make people understand that we can see things both ways. Yeah, Lian, you were saying something?
I was saying it just shows us the power of our mind, and we can, and how our thoughts can control the way we see the world, can influence the way.
The power of the mind, right? We could make that train shift any direction we wanted because of the power of our own minds. Great. All right. So I've come to the end of my presentation. I have one group activity, but before I get into the group activity, are there any questions?
I was just looking at
very clear.
One of the limiting factors that you talked about, comparing, it being negative. And what was crossing my mind was, suppose I have the emotion of being envious. Okay, I'm not talking of jealousy. I'm talking of being envious. I would sometimes it is helpful to be envious because maybe you look at the opportunity of how you can improve yourself, to match up or keep up to someone. So comparing may not always have a negative kind of.
Absolutely, Marita. And if I may say that if it is helping the persons to move in a right direction, then it is a helpful thought. But if I'm just sitting and comparing and despairing all day, then I would be doing a lot of injustice to myself, or either comparing myself or I'm sitting and comparing my children with the neighbor's children, and so on and so forth. It may not be very, very helpful. So the example that you gave is, yes, you may be having some amount of envy, or I would say some amount of competitiveness. It should be, again, healthy competitiveness. Like most sports people, they compare themselves with themselves only. They try to beat their own timing. If they try to beat somebody else's timing, they may find it very difficult. Okay, so that's something that we also tell young sports people, that first you work on yourself, then compare yourself to somebody who's better than you. Yeah, good. Any other questions?
Jennifer, I want to ask you how does introspection help in resilience?
Okay. Do you have some answer on that, some hunch on that? How does introspection help on resilience?
Right.
Anybody else? I mean, Lian, you want to take
that? Should we leave it to someone else? Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
It helps because one, you can introspect to figure out where your thoughts are potentially unhealthy. are your thoughts, are you falling into any of the thought traps that Jennifer was talking about? So if you're introspecting for those reasons, then yes, it could definitely help resilience, because then you know what you need to fix to build resilience.
Yeah. So what Liana said is absolutely right. The first step is, when we are having too many thoughts, is to put them down on a paper if possible, because that gives us a perspective, and then labeling those thoughts as one of the unhealthy thinking patterns. First is asking, is it a fact or an opinion? And then, am I able to label it? Am I doing black and white thinking? Am I doing self-critical thoughts? Am I filtering out the good stuff and only allowing the bad stuff to stay with me? So definitely introspection is a very powerful tool, because it brings us into self-awareness. Yeah, thanks, Leanne, for that.
Can I very quickly say something? The reason I could answer the question and Jennifer handed this over to me is because I have done this very brilliant course that she conducts online on CBT skills. So if anyone's interested, it's yeah, worth it. It helps, me tremendously in my personal life as well.
Thanks, Leanne. Yes, it's called cognitive behavioral therapy. You don't have to really attend my course. If any of you are interested, you can just read about it online. And we have brought in cognitive behavioral. That means our thoughts and our feelings and our behaviors into understanding how resilient we are. Resilience is a very large topic. We've just taken one part of it. We mustn't forget our value system, because our value system comes into play in a lot of our decisions, in a lot of our behaviors. And so sometimes that is also, not sometimes, all the time, that's also part of our resilience. Any other questions? If there are no other questions, what I'll do is I'm going to break you all up into groups. Okay, don't worry, you don't have to do anything. The Zoom meeting will automatically take you into these breakout rooms, and they will automatically bring you back. Okay, so the idea is when you go into your group, you can share your name with a name and badge with each one, and you can share 2 things that you've done to keep your resilience going. Okay? Yes, everyone's all right? So don't worry, you'll go into the group. I'm going to give you all, do we have time, Leanne? 10 minutes is okay? Yeah. Okay. All right. So 10 minutes, and you'll automatically be brought back to this meeting. After that, we would be done. So don't worry. How many of us here? We are 28. Okay.
Can Manchanda join?
What exactly you want us to do, Jennifer?
You share your name and badge, and then you share 2 things that you've done that is good for your resilience. Okay. Give me one moment. I'm just creating those breakout rooms. If you all have any questions, you can ask.
In alphabetical order, Manchanda together.
So it's according to the order that's here. So don't worry, Manchanda can't be together.
So sweet.
I'm fully aware of that. Yeah. Okay, I've just randomly created these rooms, so don't worry. You'll be back automatically here when those rooms close. So all the best, have fun, and come back soon. Yeah. Keep your videos on. I forgot to tell you all that. What happened? Why are you all still here? You all have not been taken to the room? What happened, Mother? Why haven't you gone to the room? Did you decline?
Hello.
Okay, we're back.
Yes, you're back. Correct. Does it ask you whether you want to go to the breakout room?
It just says it's sending you to the breakout. Yeah, no, it does ask. It does
Yes,
ask.
we were told to leave. Yeah.
So do you have to accept something?
Yeah, you have to accept.
Okay, so they've changed that setting because 3 people did not join and they left the meeting also. Lalita and something in F.
Okay,
back, Jennifer.
Everyone's coming back slowly. Here we go.
Yeah, okay.
There we are.
Yeah.
Don't worry, our group had a drink. There's only 2 things we did.
We gave you 8 minutes.
We had 2 drinks.
Have some tea or coffee.
Very good. You all built resilience through the drink, I hope. Yeah. Great. Okay, so how was that? How was that? That was a bit of sharing and things like that.
Very nice.
Yeah. Very nice.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Okay, good. If you all have any more questions, I'll take it. Otherwise, I'll hand it over back to Leanne and Miss Jenny.
Yeah, I think we are
Is that the end?
Okay.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. Enjoyable, very
I wish you can do a repeat.
Jennifer,
I have to open more people. Felicia, wherever you are listening.
yes, Jennifer, I want to say something. I want to say something in behalf, not on behalf, in behalf of Prudence. Yes, she's the one that has taken the initiative and got us all into a group where we meet on Monday night, the Google Meet. You can ask her about it. She's the one who has, it helps. It really helps.
Can I join? Can I join?
Yeah, Jennifer, join. Genevieve, sorry.
Thank you.
Genevieve.
Yes.
Rudy, thanks.
Very nice.
We'll put you in, Genevieve. Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something we can look at, having regular meetings, just Zoom meetings where we can all sit and chat and
it's helps, you know.
Why not? If it's helping people
thank you, Felicia.
feel connected and stay.
Yes.
Let's all learn from the batch of 64 and do something on a larger scale.
Yeah.
Groups and before we used to meet at least once a month, but of course now with the lockdown and all, it's not been possible for a long, long time.
But you know what? This Prudence, you're not only meeting your batchmates, but you're meeting girls from other, years also, which is helping to, get closer to everybody.
That's what I just said to the 5 of us who met.
Yeah.
It's nice meeting and making friends again. Yes.
Otherwise, otherwise we're only meeting the committee every time. Now I think they're meeting more people.
Okay, Genevieve. Are you listening?
Hi, Purity.
Hi, Louise.
Hi, Purity.
Body, hi.
Leanne, you can start a Zoom call once a month.
Yeah, good idea.
Zoom session.
Well, whoever wants to join.
Yeah, like weekend sessions, something like for an hour or something. It'll be good fun.
Get some more people. Get some more girls.
We get to interact. We're not meant to be isolated.
Very good beginning. Jennifer, you set the bar very high.
Oh my God.
You have. Another very my training, no, Jennifer. Say yes, man. My training, no.
Thank you, Miss. Thank you to all my teachers at school.
Zindabad.
I have to make a special mention that my mom is here today. I don't know, she's not showing her face.
We can't see her.
Yeah.
We can't see your mom. Turn her camera.
She's been the epitome of resilience for me, and she has managed this last 1 year on her own. So I'm sure if you all need any tips, more tips, you all can contact her. She'll give you a lot of tips.
Yes, I know. That is a name I heard many, many, many times.
Right.
Yes, girls, we are going to be having many more programs, and we want to thank Jennifer especially for giving us her time and all the tips and the ideas of how to build resilience, especially at this COVID times.
Very fruitful.
Girls, please, very fruitful, yes, indeed, Mrs. Manchanda. And we want to thank your daughter very specially for hosting and coordinating and getting us all over here. We've had such a lovely evening.
She's good
and
at
this is going to be, yes. Yes, that's true. So this is the way we can build our resilience, by having our own support group of our girls. So next time when we should be having another program in the next month, and that we want you to get another buddy with you, so we can increase the number of people in the support group. And also not to forget our Facebook group. I wish you all can log in there. So we're going to have more updates on that. I hope you're aware of the new group called St. Joseph's St. Joseph's Convent High School Ex-Students Association.
Yes,
and
one positive thing is we got birthday greetings.
Yes.
Just
we're working on that. It started.
All of you who've had birthdays in the past week or so will have got birthday wishes by
Yes. So, I got mine. I knew who to, and sorry, I'm talking from behind the scenes, but I knew who to thank for that.
Okay. Another very quick thing. Jennifer has said she will share with us a handout, Ranjan, on the unhelpful thinking pattern. So I will put this up in the Facebook group. If anyone would like it to be emailed directly to them, please email us at the sjcweb1868@gmail.com address, and I'll make sure I send it to you directly as well. Okay, and please reach out if you have any suggestions for any future workshops. If you want to have something, anything at all, just let us know. You know how to find us.
Thank you very much. Thank you
very much.
Thank you.
Jennifer, thank you very much.
Jennifer.
And thank you to the managing committee.
Thank you to everyone. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Yes.
Leanne, for
Thanks to everyone, Jennifer and everyone. Thank you for managing committee.
We'll do these support groups.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, do a support group. Everyone needs it. Look how everyone's so happy now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why Genevieve gone? I can't see her on my screen.
Here I am.
I can hear you. Yes. I can hear you.
Okay, here I am.
There you are.
Good to see Maria also.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see everyone.
Yeah.
So happy that we have made such nice, graceful young girls who are now.
Hey, what about the school song?
Growing into mature.
Oh, the school song.
Genevieve, what about the school song?
Wants to sing the school
I don't know. We put it. We take it forward. We got it. No, we did it the last time at your place.
Yes.
About it.
Well, if anyone wants to sing now, they're more than welcome to.
Yes, please sing. If everyone's game, we'll do it right away.
Sorry.
Who's got a good voice?
There's not an earthquake, there's repairs going on in the building. Wow.
But who's starting?
Genevieve, Felicia?
Start. Joseph, your spouse.
No, Joseph. Or the through climb back the sun.
I didn't go any
Most school we pray. The morning child of us as long ago. Thou didst regard the little son of man with guidance and love.
Yes,
Genevieve, I wanted to sing the other one.
Which one?
Okay. Holy apple of emblem of symbol of inspiration in our striving. We, your unavailable of youthful hearts and dreams. Ever to you be loyalty, the standard of our school. Proudly we assemble here our cherished banner praising noble thoughts and sentiments inspired by your upbringing. Zeal and honor approaching for Savior in with industry in daily life. Dear standard, we love you. Yes, oh, great. It's nice to sing this song again.
Great. That was great.
What I was sounding like, Leanne, but whatever.
Don't ask her how we can
recording. You can listen to yourself.
Oh, she'll tell me the truth.
Do you want to stop recording? We can chat now.